Alright there guys, and welcome back to another video. Right, look at that. 2 videos back to back that have no relation to anime. See, I told you this channel wasn't exclusively anime. I just said mostly. Mostly and exclusively are not the same thing. And today I'm actually coming at you with a list video. And this is a list video I've actually been meaning to make for a little while now, and I just kept on forgetting about it. But as you can see from the title, I am ranking every single video game console I have owned from worst to best. So, for this list, I have to have owned this console. It can't be a console I've used at somebody else's house but never owned myself. I have to have owned it. So, the consoles that are eligible for this list are the PS1, the PS3, the PSP, the original, the PS4, the Xbox 360, and the Nintendo Wii. So, 6 different consoles are eligible for this list. Consoles I have used but never owned, so that they are not eligible for this list, are the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, and the PS2. I have used all 3 of those consoles, but I have never owned them, therefore that's why they're not eligible for this list. Okay, so let's start off and get in straight into it with number 6. Coming in at the number 6 spot is the PS1. The PS1 was the first console I ever had. I had it when I was about 4 or 5 years old, so a good 15 to 16 years ago now. And it comes in at number 6 in the bottom spot because I simply don't really remember it that well. I can remember only 3 games I ever played on it, which were Ridge Racer 2, Toy Story Racer, what a game by the way that is, and Toy Story 2. Apparently I had a weird version of the game because I asked if the game is supposed to be in black and white. No, it's not meant to be in black and white. I had a weird version of the game that only ever played in black and white and never played in colour. But yeah, I don't have many memories of the PS1 as it was so long ago. But yeah, something I do remember though on Ridge Racer 2 being on a snowy map, and being an absolute drift king. Oh, I remember that well. I was actually somewhat good at that game. But yeah, out of the 3 games I did play a lot on the PS1, definitely Toy Story Racer is what was my favourite. I just remember playing the battle mode. That's what I remember playing so much when I did play it. It was pretty damn fun. But yeah, the PS1 comes in at number 6. Coming in at the number 5 spot is the Xbox 360. That is right. I did own the Xbox 360 very briefly for around 9 months. Let me give you the quick backstory. So in Christmas of 2014, Che got a PS3. As for the longest time, he was always a 360 guy, and I was a PS3 guy. We did not have the same console. In 2014, he got a PS3. which was the first time he'd ever got on a PlayStation console, which was very cool. Three and a half months later, in mid-April of 2015, I got an Xbox 360 as, despite having a PS3, me and Chase still did not play together. Me and Chase did not play together that often. So I decided to go over to his side and get a 360. And that's what I did, and I can remember I made my gamer tag Commander U738. I play on his 360 gamer tag, just swapping out the 6 in the 638 for a 7. I remember that. And I did enjoy my time using my 360 from April of 2015 to January of 2016. Of course, I got my PS4 in Christmas of 2015, so that made me not really want to use my 360 that much anymore, which I haven't used it since January of 2016. It's almost 2021. It's been nearly 5 years already since I last used my 360. But yeah, I did enjoy my time with it. Got to play games like Halo Reach. Had a lot of fun with that. I played Batman Arkham Asylum for the first time on it, and that game actually broke my disc tray. I'm not joking. One day I was playing Batman Arkham Asylum, pressed the eject button on my 360 console to eject the game disc, and it never did. You know the power button on the 360 that you press to turn it on? That was just infinitely flashing. That just kept on flashing and flashing, and never stopped flashing. So yeah, that did bring that did bring the 360 down a little bit. Like, yes, it wasn't a very good 360. I get that. It wasn't expensive. It was a cheap one. But still, that kind of sucked. I remember playing GTA 5 with Shane Connor a lot on the 360, and because I didn't remember my GTA 5 PS3 characters' details, you know, the crew details, where if you enter them into a character on a different console, you can still have that character. I didn't remember mine. Because I made my GTA 5 character in 2013. My online character in 2013. And this was 2015. This was a good 2 years later, so I didn't remember the details. So I had to start all over again. But completing the heists with Shane Connor was incredibly fun. And something only the Xbox 360 at the time could give me. But my favourite and best memories of the Xbox 360 are playing TF2 on it with Shay. I had the PS3 version of TF2 as well on the orange box, and I enjoyed that. But playing TF2 with a friend, oh yes, it's so good. The reason why I loved playing TF2 on the 360 with Shay so much is because we played on the you know how there are only 6 maps in the console versions of TF2? There's Two Fort, Dust Bowl, Granary, Gravel Pit, and Hydro. They're the only maps on the console versions of the game. On the PS3 version, people only ever pick Two Fort and Dust Bowl. They're the only 2 maps anyone ever picks in that game. No one ever picks Well. Nobody picks No one picks Granary, nobody picks Gravel Pit, and no one picks Hydro. However, me and Shay always just hosted lobbies of our own on TF2, and anyone could just join them. Instead of joining the games, we set up our own, and random people would just join. And we always played on those 4 maps that we never played on the PS3 version. Granary, Well, Hydro, Gravel Pit. We always played on those maps. Maps we never usually play. Maps I never usually got to play. God, it was so fun. And me and Shay are pretty much a dream team when it comes to TF2. Our heavy medic combo rarely ever got beaten. And it did not matter which of us was playing which class. We were both equally as good as heavy and medic. But yeah, that is going to be where the Xbox 360 comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is going to be the PSP. The PlayStation Portable. Sony's first ever attempt at a handheld console. And what I've got to say, they did quite a good job with it. I mean, the PS Vita was not as much of a success as the PSP, even though it had like a touch screen, which would later set the foundation for the touchpad on the PS4 controller. But yeah, the PSP was a pretty good handheld, and is the only handheld console I've ever owned. My best memories of it are playing DBZ Shin Budokai, the first one. I remember I have a lot of memories playing that game. It's basically Burst Limit, but handheld, because the controls are identical. Yeah, the controls are identical on Shin Budokai and Burst Limits. They're exactly the same. But yeah, I didn't have a ton of games for the PSP. I mean, I had a Cars game, the Pixar movie Cars. I had a game of that. I had Shin Budokai. There was the original Star Wars Battlefront. I had a demo of that I played a lot on the PSP, and it was incredibly fun. You could play the Clone Wars, or you could play this other something else. I can't remember what it was called. But you basically played as a droid, a clone trooper or a droid, and occasionally you got a chance to play as either Darth Maul or Obi-Wan, depending on which side you were on. You got to switch to them, and then they always had decreasing health that decreased very, very slowly over time, but every single time you hit an enemy, it was a one-shot kill. Unless you happen to go up against someone else who also is playing as Darth Maul or Obi-Wan. If you're on the clone trooper side and you're playing as Obi-Wan, and somebody's on the droids and turns into Darth Maul, then you are not going to one-hit each other, because of they have more health. They have more health, of course, and they're a lot stronger. But yeah, those are really the only memories of the PSP I have. I didn't have much of it, but what I will say is the fact that the PSP had its own movie cartridges. Like, certain movies were made to specifically play on the PSP. What I mean by that is, you know how there's a PSP version of Ice Age, where it's a cartridge, it's a small cartridge, just like the games are, you pop it into the back of it, where you would put the games, close it, and you can then watch a watch that movie on the PSP. There was that. There was the first Garfield movie, that was on there. The 2005 horror movie, The Descent, that was on there. So yeah, that was quite cool how the PSP literally had certain movies that were turned into cartridges that could specifically play on it. The battery life for the PSP is not great. Oh, actually, that's one game I forgot to mention. Secret Agent Clank. Oh, I played that game so much on the PSP. I never got very far because this is back when I didn't understand truly how to play Ratchet and Clank games well, like I do now. I didn't know how to play them very well. But yeah, Secret Agent Clank was a game where instead of just going gung-ho against everyone like you would as Ratchet in most games, you have to be stealthy as Clank. Take people out stealthily. Your weaponry isn't as strong as it normally would be because you've got to keep a low profile. But yeah, the PSP comes in at number 4. Right then, top 3. Coming at the number 3 spot is the Nintendo Wii. That's right, the Nintendo Wii is an amazing console. It's extremely underrated. I mean, how does the Wii go past have two console generations after it happened, but yet Wii Sports is still a trending game now. People are still playing Wii Sports now on the Nintendo Wii. 14 years later after it's released, and people are still playing the first ever game that was released for it. So, the Nintendo Wii, what did I love about this console? Well, it had a lot of good games. I mean, a lot of the games I got were Mario games, as you'd probably expect. But it was the first console to introduce motion controls with a controller. The controller actually had motion controls. The Wii Remote. It was the first Nintendo console to not have a traditional controller, where you can hold it. Instead, you can just hold it with one hand. And of course, you had a nunchuck, which was needed in certain games to move around with its control stick. But the Wii had so many great games, both Mario Galaxy games, Mario Kart Wii, which, funnily enough, Mario Kart Wii is still alive to this day. Thanks to emulators, people are still able to play Mario Kart Wii online. Despite in 2014, just before Mario Kart 8 was released, the Nintendo Wii and Nintendo DS servers were shut down permanently, but thanks to emulators, you can still play Mario Kart Wii online, which is quite cool. Kirby's Epic Yarn, a game that I think is super underrated, and people only don't like it because it's not a traditional Kirby game because you can't inhale, and B, because it's too easy. What's wrong with having an easy game? It means there's no stress about dying all the time because you don't have to worry about that. Especially in that game, because you can't die. You actually cannot die in that game. But one of the best features that the Nintendo Wii has is the backwards compatibility it had with GameCube games. If you had a GameCube game, you could get the disc, stick it in your Nintendo Wii, and you could play that game. The Wii had a part at the top of the console. The Wii had a section of it where you could open it up and you could stick the wire of a GameCube controller into it, and then it would just work. The GameCube controller would work. There was also this compartment where if you had there was this like 4 megabyte card that you could stick into your Wii, and it basically gave you save data, where I could save my data on Mario Kart Double Dash, what a game by the way, and on Super Mario Sunshine. I could save my data on Mario Sunshine because of that one card. Yeah, backwards compatibility with from the Wii to the GameCube was huge. Not only that, you can use GameCube controllers on Wii games such as Super Smash Bros. Brawl. You can use the GameCube controller to play a Wii game. Same, you can play it with Mario Kart Wii. You can play Mario Kart Wii with a GameCube controller and it will work. That's what's so good about this console. You could use, not only could you play older generation of console games on the Wii, but you could use older console generation controllers to play games for the current console. And also the fact that you could buy N64 games and NES games and SNES games off the Wii Shop's channel, that was great. That's how I've been able to play Mario 64 in the first place. That's how I got to play Super Mario 64. And the original Paper Mario, that's how I got to play that game. And my favourite Nintendo game of all time, Mario Party 2. Thanks to the Wii Shop channel, that's how I was able to get Mario Party 2 and play it. And I guarantee I would have just as much fun playing it now as I did back then. So yeah, that's why the Nintendo Wii comes in at number 3. Okay, coming in at the number 2 spot is the PS3. The PS3 is number 2. It's the console I have owned for the longest amount of time. My first PS3 I got was in 2007. Just under a year after it was released. And I've had a PS3 ever since. Maybe not the same exact one, maybe I've had to get new ones, but I've always had one since 2007. And I mean, the one I currently have now, I've had since 2012. So Christmas of this year, it'll have been 8 years since I got that PS3, and it's still here. The PS3 was my true first introduction to gaming. It really was. It's where I started properly playing games. And I've played so many amazing games on it. The first 3 Uncharted games, The Last of Us, BO2. It's where I start playing GTA 5. It's where I played Xenoverse 1. It's where I played Budokai 1 and 3 in the HD collection. There is just so many great games for the PS3 that I can't just list them off or off now. There's so many more great PS3 games. But yeah, the PS3 was a The PS3 has been an amazing console, and I thank it for its time. To think next month the PS3 will have been 2 console generations ago now. The PS5, of course, releases in just under a month, and the PS3 will be 2 console generations old. And can we officially call it a retro console now? Because it's 2 console generations ago. Like the PS2, 1 and 2 are retro consoles. Is the PS3 considered a retro console now? Or do we have to wait a few more years before we can consider it a retro console? Same with the Xbox 360. When the Xbox Series X comes out, does that mean we can officially call the 360 a retro console now? Or not? But yeah, the PS3 had so many amazing games. And it gave us the closest console war ever, because the PS1 had the N64 to deal with, but with Microsoft it didn't have anything because Xbox did not exist yet. I'm gonna go with I'm pretty sure the N64 beats the PS1. But then we had the GameCube, the PS2, and the original Xbox. The original Xbox was its first console. What hasn't ever been considered a massively impressive console by anyone. The PS2 took the cake with that so very easily, as it's the most sold console of all time. But then we had the PS3, Nintendo Wii, and Xbox 360. I mean, if we're being honest, the Xbox 360 probably did come out on top just in the console war, but so many people disrespected the PS3. A lot of it was because the DLCs for Call of Duty were released on Xbox a month earlier than they were on PlayStation. And then, of course, in 2015, when BO3 came out, the roles switched, where PlayStation got everything a month early and Xbox had to wait. But yeah, the PS3 had some incredible features, and the original PS3 had backwards compatibility with PS2 games. That's so damn good. That is so damn good, isn't it? It's how I got to play the original Ratchet and Clank. The very first one. It's how I got to play that game. It's how I got to play... What else was it? There was another game SpongeBob Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Now, I remember if you got that game on the PlayStation Store, as it was on the store very briefly, then you would be able to... It would crash a lot and break. But if you had the original PS3 and you put the PS2 disc inside the console, the game worked fine. I never experienced those issues. But in order to make the PS3 better and give it more gigabytes, they had to remove the backwards compatibility feature of the PS2, which was a huge disappointment. Really, a massive shame. But the backwards compatibility is also... Oh wait, no, I just realised. Oh wait, no, I was right. Yeah, the Budokai 1 and 3. Yeah. But I didn't play Budokai 1 in the HD collection first. I played the actual game, the game on its own with the PS2 backwards compatibility feature. And then we had Budokai 2 as well, so I have played all 3 of the original Budokai games, thanks to the PS2 backwards compatibility feature and the HD collection. And that's why the PS3 comes in at number 2. So coming in at the number 1 spot on ranking every console that I have owned from worst to best, it's the PS4. The console that is soon going to be considered last gen. That's right. Usually when a new generation of consoles come out, for the first year that they are out, we call them next gen, and we call the older consoles, the ones we've been using, current gen. But when we hit mid-November of 2021, the PS5 and Xbox Series X are now going to become current gen consoles, and the PS4 and Xbox One will officially become last gen. crazy to think that the PS4 and Xbox One are actually going to be called last gen in about a year's time. Which means the PS3 and Xbox 360 are going to be called last gen. But yeah, why is the PS4 my favorite console? Well, first off, the controller has a port that you can put in a headset, stick in a headset to, something no other PlayStation console previously had. No other PlayStation console had that feature. Sony decided to take a leaf out of Microsoft's book and stick a port at the bottom of the controller to stick your headset in so you can use it. The party feature was brought in from the Xbox as well. The controller, smaller than the PS3 controller. Is it? I can't even remember. Is it bigger or smaller than it? I can't remember. But yeah, the controller just feels good. A lot of people hated the PS3 controller. I never knew why, because I found it fine. Personally, I think if you don't like a controller for a console, you're just bad with it. It's not the controller being bad, you're just bad with it. Because I haven't struggled with any controller I've ever had. Not GameCube, not PS3, not PS1, not PS4, not Xbox 360, Xbox One. A little bit with the Switch, but that's because I haven't owned the console. But yeah, the PS4 controller just feels good. The fact that you can record video clips as easily as pressing the share button and then pressing square. Of course, thanks to that feature, I'm able to make gaming videos. I was able to make gaming videos for 3.5 years on this channel. Until I moved it to my second channel. The PS4 does not have backwards compatibility with the PS3, which is a massive shame. But some of the games that were released for it, Uncharted 4, massive. Marvel Spider-Man, huge. God of War, huge. The Last of Us Part 2, should have been massive, but ended up not being. Although there's apparently rumours going around that there's going to be an Abby DLC for that game, which... It's almost like Naughty Dog are doing this on purpose. They know everyone hates Abby, so they're going to keep the narrative of everyone hating Abby. They're going to do what... Naughty Dog are trying to do whatever they can to make people like Abby, because nobody does. That's what they're doing. Yeah, we're not going to see more of Ellie, or more of Joel, because he's dead. Let's show more of the characters that you all hate. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, the PS4's the party system in the PS4 now recently is not as good as it used to be. I don't know why they've changed it. Again, don't fix what ain't broke. Sony clearly don't get that message. It wasn't broke, so why did you try and fix something that isn't broken in the first place? But yeah, parties worked very smoothly. The controller having a headset port was massive. The controller having a touchpad instead of a select button was a new change, which just worked, but it worked exactly the same as a select button would. And yeah, that's why the PS4 comes in at number 1. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, follow me on all my social medias, and until next time guys, catch you later.